James woke before the first rooster and slept after the last. Taxi horn, bricklaying, wheelbarrow pushing. Night guard when the landlord needed a steady eye. He kept going. 10 children to feed. One wife, Neka, who wrapped hope like a wrapper around her waist and told him, tomorrow go better. Rent late, school fees hanging like a rain cloud. Still, he tried. He carried sand. He fixed gutters. He smiled at small wins, like Gary staying long in the pot. But Lagos can be stubborn. Contracts vanished after a handshake. Bosses promised, then ghosted. He watched younger men drive past in cars with music so loud the road vibrated. He told himself not to envy. Envy is a hot charcoal. He held his breath and counted blessings. 10 small heads. 10 small voices. He swore he would not fail them. He swore he would find a way that wouldn't shame their names. Bills gathered on the table like strangers at a bus stop. Rent notice. PTA letter. Hospital slip for little Somto's cough. James folded each paper and slid it under a Bible, as if the book could press them flat. Neka watched him with soft eyes that still carried fire. You are trying, she said, I know. Yet her voice bent on the last word. The children learned to turn hunger into games. Who can eat slowest? Who can keep a smile longest? Nights were louder with questions. Daddy, when is excursion money? Daddy, my sandals cut, he said soon. The same soon he'd said last month. His backbone got tight. Pride is a stubborn goat. He wouldn't borrow from men who laughed behind their hands. He wouldn't beg. So when an old friend called, the name tasted like rescue. Kachi, secondary school seat partner. Class clown. The boy who used to share Puff Puff at break. He sounded richer on the phone now. Deep voice. Calm laugh. James, I Daytown. Pull up this evening. Small hangout. Let me show you something. No stress, just come. James hesitated. Parties cost money. But Kachi said, I've got you. You need a break. He ironed his best shirt. The one with the careful collar. Neka shrugged. Go. Maybe work will find you there. She tucked transport fare into his palm and kissed his cheek like a prayer. James told the children to read their books and sleep early. He stepped into the night with a quiet hope. Lights ahead. Music calling. A door he hadn't tried before. The compound was alive. Soft lights under palm fronds. Men shaking hands with rings that flashed. Women laughing like their throats were made of sweet water. Kachi hugged him like a brother and pressed a cold drink into his hand. This is your season, Kachi said. You've paid your dues. Come and meet people who open doors without noise. He met a man they called Chairman. Gentle smile. Watch that looked like it could feed a street. Chairman asked small questions that felt big. Family? Work? Dreams? James answered and tried not to sound hungry. Chairman nodded. Sometimes life owes you. Sometimes you must collect. He touched James's shoulder. Come for a private talk. No rush, just wisdom. James followed. The music softened. The air changed. In a back room, the lights were low and the chairs were deep. Chairman spoke like a pastor who knew where the road bends. You've worked. Life has been unfair. There's a way to balance the scale. Nothing crazy. Just align your destiny. Open your hands and let help meet you. Kachi smiled in the corner like a cousin at a wedding. James asked, how much? Chairman laughed. Money first? No, first we cleanse the blockages around you. You're carrying loads that are not yours. Dust off the bad luck. Then opportunities flow. People will call. Contracts will find you. James swallowed. Cleanse how? Chairman waved it away. Small rights. Harmless things. Think of it as washing your face before stepping into sunlight. James nodded and felt the floor tilt. Morning after the party. A man called about a site job James had chased for months. Come now, he said. Bring your tools. We've started already. Pay was fair. Lunch was hot. James worked like fear was chasing him. At close, the foreman handed him an envelope thicker than usual. The paper felt like a soft drum in his hand. He reached home and spread food on the table. Egg sauce. Steaming yam. The children ate and sang small songs. Neka watched him. Where did the light in your eye come from? He said, maybe the tide is changing. Later that night, he dreamed of footprints in wet earth. 10 small sets. A tall one following. He woke with sweat on his back and a smile on his face. "Blessings finally," he whispered, not seeing the shadow at the door. 2 days later, Kachi returned. "Just a tiny step to seal your open roads," he said. "Nothing painful. Bring a personal item from each child. A hair strand, a sock, a school pencil that has their bite marks. We will pray over it for protection." James blinked. Protection sounds good. The world is wicked. He gathered the items carefully, whispering each child's name as if the names were bubbles that might float away. At dusk, he met Kachi near a shrine that looked like an old tree that had seen too much. Men stood around with faces like locked doors. An old voice muttered words James didn't know. They tied the items in a small cloth and burned incense. No blood, no knife, only smoke and promises. James coughed and nodded. "For my children's safety," he said. "For our rising." He went home and slept heavy. By weekend, money was moving. 2 more jobs. A friend repaid a long-forgotten loan. Even the landlord greeted first. But Somto woke with a fever that refused to listen to medicine. He whispered in his sleep and reached for the air like he was catching something he couldn't see. Neka sat on the floor, holding his hand, rocking small. James felt a stone in his chest. He called Kachi. "My boy is down." Kachi's voice was cool. "Sometimes the cleansing shakes dust loose. Don't panic." Another small step and peace returns. "Come tonight. Bring cola. Bring white cloth." James didn't like the hurry in the man's words, but fear will make even a champion kneel. He told Neka he would get more drugs. She looked at him long. "Come back quick," she said. He nodded and ran into the night. The compound he entered wasn't party bright now. It was quiet like a belly. Candles, calabashes. The air thick with something. Sweet and sour. The old voice again. The old tree again. Chairman came out from darkness with the same soft smile. "You want your family safe. You want your hands blessed. But blessings require alignment." James swallowed. "Say it straight." "What do you mean?" Chairman tilted his head. "Every man carries seed. Some men must plant part of that seed elsewhere." A lock of hair. A nail clipping. A first breath at dawn. It sounded harmless, yet it felt wrong. James thought of Somto's hot forehead. He thought of school shoes with holes. He nodded as if his neck were not his. He handed over the things Kachi asked for. The old voice sang. The candles flickered. Somewhere a dog cried. Somto's fever broke. Money doubled. Work called without begging. But Chiamaka, the eldest girl, started waking at 3 a.m., eyes wide, saying a man without a face was counting them in the room. 1, 2, 3, her voice was thin like thread. Then silence. James kept the light on for a week. He slept sitting, fists tight. He rushed back to Kachi. "This one is different. My child is seeing things." Kachi's face shifted like a mask slipping. "You're halfway. Don't stop now. Chairman will be angry." "Angry at what?" "At hesitation. At breaking a vow you made when you ate his food and took his favor." James felt kitchen smoke in his throat. "What exactly did I vow?" Kachi smiled, small and sad. "To bring all that carries your name. To lay it at the riverbank, so wealth will locate you." James stepped back as if a hand pushed him. He went home and found Neka waiting, eyes red from sleeplessness, jaw set. "Where have you been?" He tried to talk around it. He said prayer group. He said friends. She said, "Don't lie. I smell fear on you. I smell it on our girl." "Tell me," he broke open. "The party. The chairman. The items. The smoke." Her lips trembled, then hardened. "You will not trade our children's breath for any man's handshake." She packed the small Bible, a rosary her mother left, and a bottle of anointing oil. She called Pastor Uzo. She called Auntie Farida, who kept a prayer mat rolled under her bed. "Tomorrow morning we will fill this house with clean words," she said. The night was long. Every sound was a footstep. At dawn the house rose like a drum. They prayed. They cried. They shouted names. And something heavy lifted, then pressed back, angry that they noticed. Kachi came by at noon with a smile that didn't reach his eyes. "Chairman is patient," he said, "but patience has an end. You've enjoyed. Now fulfill." He glanced at the children like a market woman pricing tomatoes. Neka stood between him and the doorway. Leave our compound. Kachi laughed low. James, take charge of your house. Men don't argue with abundance. That evening, 2 men followed James from work. Not close, not far. Just enough to make his skin itch. A note slipped under their door read, "Return what you took or finish what you started." He burned the note, but the ash smelled like fear. He wanted to run. Where would he run with 10 children? He wanted to fight. With what? He held Neka's hand like it was a rope keeping him from a well. At last he walked into the police station. Sat on the wooden bench. Told a story that made the duty officer stare, then rub his face. Ritual syndicate, the man said, voice flat. Names, places. James gave them all. Shame was a hot sun on his neck. He signed a statement and felt lighter, then immediately heavier. What if they came for him here? What if... They drove to Kachi's compound that night with plainclothes, officers and a brave local vigilante. The music was gone. The candles were gone. Just walls and the whisper of lizards. They found a back room with chalk marks and strange bundles. They found a book full of men's names and the number of their children, which made the officer hiss. They didn't find Chairman. He was smoke already. They picked Kachi. He looked at James like betrayal had a taste. Rumor is a fast bird. By morning, the street knew something. By afternoon, everybody knew everything, plus what didn't happen. Women drew their children close when James passed. Men shook their heads. Some said he was victim. Some said he was hungry and careless. Neka kept her chin high. She went with him to the station to add her own account. She told the truth with a calm voice. She named fear and told it to sit outside. The officers advised James to keep his family close and his door locked. A volunteer group of church and mosque members took turns staying awake by their gate at night. The children slept in one room for a week. Mattresses pulled together, bodies touching bodies. Nothing dramatic broke in, yet the house shook with what almost happened. Love sat in the center like a small lantern holding off a big dark. Charges came. Accessory to criminal conspiracy. Aiding spiritual fraud. He pleaded guilty to his part and not guilty to what he refused to complete. The judge's wig looked like a tired cloud. She asked quiet questions. Why did you go? Why didn't you stop earlier? His answers were small. I wanted better. I was afraid. I was foolish. The gavel came down. 6 months. Community service after, counseling, mandatory. Prison stripped him. He learned silence. He learned the slow routine of repentance. He wrote letters to each child. One by one. 10 letters full of apologies without big grammar. I almost lost you for a lie. I will spend my breath to make it right. He held Neka's replies like gold. We are waiting, she wrote. We eat together at one table. Your chair is empty, but we leave it there. Come back different. He came out leaner, eyes clearer. He picked bricklaying again, but now he carried more than tools. He carried a vow. Every job he did well, he signed his name on the work in his head. No shortcuts, no shadows. He took counseling like medicine. Sat in rooms where other men told their own, almost stories. He listened, he spoke. He forgave himself slowly, piece by piece, like changing a tire in the rain. At home, trust took time. Children climbed his lap again, hesitantly at first, then fully. Chiamaka slept through the night at last. Somto coughed less. Neka watched him with new eyes, not soft with blind faith, but steady with tested love. They made rules. Phones on the table at dinner. Everyone prays in their own way at dusk. If money looks too quick, we ask more questions. They didn't say the word ritual again. They didn't need to. James opened a small workshop behind the house. Blocks, paving stones. He taught boys who hung at the junction with empty. Afternoons how to mix sand and cement until it listened. He paid them fair. He told them stories that started with, I too thought short roads were sweet. He learned to budget in a notebook. He learned to delay a purchase without bitterness. First month, they fixed a school fence for half price. Second month, they poured a church walkway. The imam asked him to tile the ablution area. He did it neat, edges sitting clean. Jobs grew by word of mouth, no signboard. Just steady hands. He placed a jar on the counter, labeled school shoes and dropped 10% of every profit there. Wealth, he told the jar, you will not make me forget where I sleep. Kachi called from an unknown number, voice thin, pride cracked. Bro, help me. Chairman vanished. Police want names. My people have scattered. The ground is hot. He begged for cash. He begged for hiding. James closed his eyes and saw their old school field. 2 boys passing a ball. Then he saw candles and a book of children's names. He opened his eyes. I can pray for you. I can give you the number of a lawyer who will ask for the truth. Money or hiding, I don't have that for you. There was a pause. Then a hiss. You think you're better now, James sighed. I'm just done with darkness. He hung up and felt shaky. Not from fear. From the old pull losing its grip. He went into the workshop and lifted blocks until his arms remembered what choosing light feels like. Years stack quietly when peace is your companion. Chimaka got into nursing school. Somto grew tall and started sketching buildings on brown cardboard. The twins ran a small snack table after school and learned to make change without cheating themselves. Neka planted ugu in tire rims and sold fresh leaves every Saturday. The house stayed noisy in the best way. On their wedding anniversary, James took a long walk with Neka at sunset. He didn't buy her diamonds. He held her hand and said, "Thank you," real slow, like each word needed space to breathe. They laughed about the landlord who used to shout. They shook heads about the girl next door who posted fancy pictures and almost got lured by promises in her DM. They agreed to keep speaking up when they saw smoke, not wait for fire. One evening, the youth fellowship asked James to talk. He stood in front of tough boys and bright girls whose eyes carried Lagos and all its noise. He didn't preach. He told a story. Work is slow sometimes. Shame is fast. A man can trip, but greed will make you hand your soul to a stranger with a smile. He said, I almost paid the highest price. My wife dragged me back. My children held me with their breaths. He looked at his hands. Scar on the knuckle from a falling block, cement lines that never fully leave. These hands feed us now, not the hands that signed away cents in a dark room. He told them what wealth means to him today. Food on the table and jokes around it. Work that lets you sleep at night. A name your children can wear outside. Then he went home, counted heads, and slept without dreams. Love kept watch. Greed stayed outside the gate where it belongs.
The end. Thanks for watching.
Please
like,
share.
comment,
Subscribe
share.
for more stories.
Subscribe for more stories.